here we go. Let's do this. So this is going to take, I have a feeling this is only going to take like an hour, maybe 15 minutes, quite a bit less. The goal here is I'm just going to try to put in a 30-second clock on my app, or 40-second clock, which is what it is in the NFL. And of course, it's going to require a little bit of tweakage of what I'm doing exactly in the current state of my simulation, because it's not actually, it's like it's going to be separate from what it was. And before I was just throwing 30 seconds on and just zipping through the time, right? So now I'm actually going to try to have the time line up. That could be tricky. So I think creating the component that's going to do the countdown is the easy part, right? I mean, that's basically all it is right here. I mean, I'm not even the one. I just was trying to figure out the quickest way to get there, so I asked AI. And when you ask for a simple task on AI, it's pretty good about it. In fact, I was thinking I was just going to build it right straight into the results, but then I thought it would be cool to just do it as a separate component. The advantage there being it's a separate component. I mean, you take it out, you take the whole code out, and I can just re-render it at the end of every play, which is what I'm doing anyway. So I run every play, render the clock, render the 40-second clock. Because when the play ends, that's when the clock starts, right? And then I can adjust my time on the clock to go really fast, because that's really what I wanted to do. That's what I'm doing. When I say it's only a 5-second clock, that means I'm doing it in 6-second increments. So it'd be nice to have it rendering just really fast. It might be a little too fast to try to do it that way, but the idea is that it looks a little bit more realistic. I don't know. We'll see. I already have an idea where I want to put it, so we're going to create a new component here. New, add, new. And we're going to call it play clock JSX. And we're just going to paste this guy in there. So I want to have the display be black because, well, that's duh. It's the obvious. Background color will be, oh no, wait. Background color is going to actually be black. And then the color, which I think is actually the text itself, is going to be yellow. Now, I don't know if that's the best font size, 5 rem. What is my font size that I'm currently using on the game result? Pages, I don't remember actually. So I should probably kind of go along that same size. Field size. I might actually be using my CSS, which I should be doing anyway. Font size 24 pixel, 20 pixel for the scoreboard, which is kind of what I'm using on the scoreboard. I don't know if I'm using SM or if I'm using if I'm using the, I think it's just scoreboard, but let's go look. Oh, it's SM. I'm using both. I'm using different parts. Okay, so scoreboard SM is being used for the team. Oh, for the play clock. Oh, that's the stuff underneath, which is what I'm using. So this is going to be part of scoreboard SM. Okay, so we are going to actually use this. And that's the simulator layout page. Yeah, all right, so I think that should work. This might need to be imported, but we will try it. Actually, I might not even have to, right? Because if I stick the component in, won't it automatically gain the settings of the TR that's housing it? Oh, but I need to have, so if I don't put a font size in, it should get the sizing of this TR that it's locating it. Problem is, if I keep re-rendering it, that won't work, huh? Because that's putting it in, but I can't re-render it every time because it's going to keep putting it on a different location. I really need to insert it. Oh, that's going to be a problem. It needs to be where it's going to sit because I'm not just adding it to the bottom of the table. Even if I recall it every time. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I don't think, I was thinking it'd be nice to have it just be a component that inserts itself, but that would mean I could only call it once and the 40-second clock would count down and then it would just stop. It's like, then I have to like, okay, what happens at the end of that? I need to re-render it, but I can't re-render it short of re-rendering the entire page, which would be a bad plan. So I want to re-render the things that change, which would mean the clock kind of has to be in place. Darn, okay. So where are they? They're rendering it right here. All right, so I'm gonna have to say something like, let's go over to my, I was hoping not to have, I wanted to do it as a separate component, but I'm starting to wonder if I can do this now, because I don't know how. Well, I don't know how it would work, but I also don't know how to do that in a way that I could have the clock reset. Because if I'm not sure that I can simply plug it in and restart it. All right, let's ask the question. If I needed to restart this clock from the calling page, how would I do that? Okay, so to restart the clock from the calling page, you can expose a control mechanism using a ref or a callback prop to reset the timer. Here's how you can modify that. Ah, okay, so there might be a way to do this. Modify the countdown clock component. Use imperative handle to expose a reset function to the parent component. All right, so we got so that might work. So all I need to do, forward ref, use the imperative handle. Huh. That's new. Okay, new to me. So we have, so we're importing a forward use effect and use state. Oh, we need those to fire it off. A forward ref, use effect. Does the setting, use imperative handle, ref, reset, set time left. All right, let's try that. Maybe I can do this. And that's actually an interesting piece of code that's going to help me, I think, in lots of other things as an example. Because I think because honestly, there's a lot of stuff in this function I would like to not have in this function as a separate component. But I was like thinking I was going to need to, I needed to have it all in there because I needed to act with it live, right? So I needed to keep changing it, which meant it would have had to keep calling. And I'm wondering if some of that's not necessary because I was worried about the re-rendering, state of things. Again, I'm not going to change that right now because this is the prototype and there's only so much I want to do, but a little bit of this is just to kind of keep giving some graphical advancement on my app a little bit. So special teams play, because I might run the games at a slower pace while I'm doing other stuff. Let's see, where'd my components go? All right, so we're at components and I have my play clock. I'm going to go like this. So now we have this. See, it's actually not that big of a function. And then usage in the next page. In the parent page, you can control the countdown by calling the reset method on the component's ref. So I'm pretty sure I'm using refs already here, so I don't need to worry about the imports. Yeah. I don't need a callback. I do need to, oh, that's right, I do need to import my play. We're going to go import play clock. Come on. I should stop doing that. I gotta rename it. I've been trying to stick with lowercase, but then I don't. My habits, my brain doesn't like lowercasing everything. Camel case is more normal in code, I guess. I don't know why. I don't know where somebody decided along the way that it was better to have weird casing, but and then I find that JSX and a lot of these other languages, they just prefer lowercase. So then at that point you're like, all right, well, I'm stuck. So let's go ahead and stop this for now. I'm lowering everything down. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a fan of, I like using lowercase or a camel case because it at least calls out some of the letters as capital. But ultimately, I either have to do it on everything, which a lot of things don't like it, or you have to do it on none of it. So I don't think anything's calling that, so I gotta go here. I gotta go over to game results. Okay, so now everything is now in the state that it should be. I don't believe I have any calls to game result. I don't think anything uses it, but I guess I can look. I did change that. Well, that's the function game results. It's not the same thing. But I do have this. Where are we? Oh, page. Okay, and where else? Got my testing functions, which I haven't actually updated. Oh, maybe that was the thing it was complaining about, that I had game results in my this is supposed to be I never actually got the testing functioning on here. I tried to implement testing on here. I was trying to put Playwright or some other, or no, and it wasn't Playwright. What was the one I used? Playwright is an Angular testing framework, I think. But for React, it was just something. I tried to install it. Spent a lot of time with it for a day, and it broke everything. When I got it going, I was like, I could get kind of like the test part to run, but then the entire app wouldn't run. It's like couldn't get it fixed. I had to undo everything I did just to get my stuff working again. So I ended up taking all my testing framework out, and so then I never went back. Like, I'm gonna have to go find something for the React part of this to be tested. The Go stuff looks a lot easier for testing. I've even already started implementing a few things in a couple places. Not actual tests, but like practice tests, and it's so much easier. So much easier. So, which is good, because the Go part's where a lot of the stuff's going to have to be. So, all right. And close that guy. Now we got to go over to game result, and we got to implement my puppy. Oh wow, there's actually quite a bit just to use it. It's like a surprise. Look at all that code I just put in just to use it. So actually, I just need to put this in where I want it. So we're going to put it in right next to the down marker, which is what I was thinking, like right here. No, not the down marker. This is where we are on the field part that I want. Quarter time, quarter seconds, yards to go. Current yard line. So I think this is the one I want. Right here. Now, I think I'm just going to stick it next to it. Hopefully this will work. And we're going to stick in play clock. Play clock. Oh yeah, and then we have to set the time, but it's a resettable. Oh, I don't want to. Oh, I see what. Okay. All right. We'll just say initial time equals, and then this is going to actually be something I'm setting. How do I reset the time though? Okay, are my eyes weirded out, or is there blue lights somewhere? Oh! Got blue lights behind me and they're reflecting off the window, and I'm like, what the heck? Where are those blue lights coming from outside? It's like, it's so bright out, only the blue spots are there. There's no, you can't see the light, the shape of the bulb or the shape of anything around it. And so my lights back there are 4 lights that are down, but they just look like 4 hovering lights. In fact, just the way the reflections move, they almost look like they're shifting. So they're not all like staying near each other either. So it's just, you know, the way I move on my focusing. So they're moving apart and together, and I'm like, what the heck? And then I moved in a way that it kind of hit the that my eyes saw it against the window itself, against like the frame, and I'm like, oh, it's behind me. But the glass, it just looked like it was across the street, like someone hung up some blue Christmas lights in the tree across the street, but they were blurry because they're fogged out. You know, they're not one little speck. So, yeah, just the things that throw you off throw me off. Okay, so let's go back to putting this in. Now, this is going to be interesting. If I set it to the same time, I don't know. So they're using a on-click handle restart. Handle restart says countdown ref dot current dot reset. What is countdown ref? We have a method. It's a use effect. Well, it's not even a use effect. It's just a function. But because they're firing it with a button. So countdown ref use ref dot current dot reset. Maybe I don't need to set the time. I just need to fire this reset button. Countdown ref dot current dot reset. All right. Reset the countdown clock. Export default function. Forwarding refs. Forward ref allows the parent component to access functions inside the child component. Oh, is there a reset function in the child component? There's not, but there is this use imperative. Clear interval timer, set time. Format time. Oh. I don't think I want a space on mine. So we have format time. We're going to have If it's less than 10, oh, they're putting a 0 on it, which works. Yeah, I like that. And then, but I don't think I think I just want it to be like that. I don't want it to be with a space. Also, won't this be double colon? Okay, let's say minutes. Oh, because they're saying if I wanted to do more. This is a countdown clock, so I'm not doing minutes. You know, I'm wondering if my overall clock, if I'm going to have a countdown clock. No, because I'm setting, I don't have actual times for my plays. So I need to drop, I would need to drop the clock. But they won't be in sync if I do that. Because it'll say second, it'll show time, but its seconds won't go down while the other clock is. Hey, Nintendo 504, how you doing, man? Sorry, I'm getting caught up in my thinking of all of the problems of implementing a play clock. I've got an idea where I want to put it, but now I'm starting to think, oh, now I got to keep it in sync with my game clock or the quarter time, as far as, you know, the seconds and the seconds of each ticking down. So you got to have them both going down, because the play clock's a 40-second clock that runs for 40 seconds. And I'm probably going to pretty much snap it all the time at the same point. But the thing is, I've got to have it be in sync now, because my play clock won't call, right, the way I'm thinking about it is it'll count down, but the play clock won't change until you run, and then it'll add 30 seconds, and it's going to be out of sync, because the way it was working is I would just add 30 seconds and it would chop it off the clock. Well, the play clock has to come down to that point, so it would be behind until it caught up, which is weird. So I'm trying to, and this, again, I'm letting myself get a little distracted on something that's a little minutiae, because it's not related, but it's also important because it will matter. I mean, I do have to implement a play clock in the game. The game's going to have one. So it's going to need it here. It's going to need it on the mobile app. It's going to need it everywhere. So, and I think it's going to have to be like a standard ticking clock that keeps going, right? So now I've noticed that it seems like some games don't give you the full time. I feel like Madden only gives you like 20 seconds, because they know that it doesn't take 40 seconds to play a clock, right? To select a play. And they gave everybody 40 seconds, the games would be really long. So I think Madden starts the play clock like at 20 seconds. And it's kind of the assumption that, you know, 20 seconds is burned up with your players running to the field. You know, they're getting in position, getting ready, because it only takes, I mean, the game puts your guys in place. There is no pick a play and everybody scrambles onto the field. It's pick a play and bam, everybody's on the field. It's not adjusting for the time it takes to actually get everybody on the field. I think. I mean, I haven't played the latest versions of Madden, but I've always, in my mind, you've always had it. You click a play and they're there. I don't know that maybe now they are actually, you pick a play and the right guys run onto the field. I don't know. But now, granted, mine is not going to be Madden. I don't want anybody to get the idea that I'm trying to create a graphic thing. But what I'm trying to do, I mean, mine will have graphics, but not that kind of graphics. It's going to look cool, I hope. It's going to look cool. but that's down the road. All of the fancy stuff is going to come later once I start getting a lot of the brains, the behind the scenes stuff in play, because that's the important stuff to me. The important stuff is how it functions, what you can do, what are the play functionalities. All the pretty stuff in front is just eye candy, right? I mean, eye candy is great. This is what Madden's problem is. They have eye candy. It's their underlying engine that's kind of blah. You know, I'm just like, you know, they don't give you all the features and stuff that you want. I'm trying to go for, let's get all the features we want and all of the stuff that you can do and manipulate in the game. That's what I'm going for. And maybe a little less on the eye candy, which is like the guys running around on the field, which is, for me, that's the piece I'm taking out. There won't be guys controllable on the field. I'm still hoping to get a little bit of UI on there to get some player stuff going. I don't know what that's going to be yet. I'm also trying to visualize what would be an adequate replacement. I don't want it to be quite as generic as a game like Action PC Football, because that one's got some stuff. It's good stuff, but not. I don't think it's enough stuff. I mean, it's very intricate about running a game, but it's not very good about the overall. What else can you do? You know, besides running a game. I think I from what I can see, you can't do a lot of that other stuff, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not trying to copy these other games. I just wanted to kind of know what I'm up against. What is the competition? And I know that what I'm creating is totally different from anything that I've seen so far. And you got to have a fairly good grasp of what these others are doing and why is it not good enough. And if you're going to create anything, you have to fit a niche that doesn't exist. Right? That's the ultimate goal. And if you can fit a niche that people want to see, you know, and for me, I look at these other games and it's like, I want to play a game that does the things that I want to put in this game. Because what's the point otherwise? I mean, I don't want to create a game that does what someone else's game does only, and then it's like, well, I could have just played their game. I just spent 2 years on a game that it's already doing all that stuff, and theirs is probably going to have, you know, more up-to-date graphics and more versions ahead of me, and they're going to be better. I mean, it's like, why create the same thing everybody else already done? Which is kind of where I'm at with the whole what do you call it, what do they call those games, the free-to-play models? ZAI? That's another one. I haven't heard of ZAI. If you do, you should get ZAI, Unlimited Claude AI Access. What, is Zed like bypassing the paywalls that Claude has? I would think they would be like, wait a minute, you can't do that. I do like Claude. I don't know that I like it better than ChatGPT, but I do like having all of them. I use all of them. So right now I'm using ChatGPT. And I usually start with ChatGPT, but I will swap around between Black Box AI and Claude. It's just that they all have their thing, you know. Some of them seem to do better. It's like sometimes you ask the same question of all of them, they all give you a different answer because there's a lot of ways to do things. Anyway, I'm digressing, whatever it is. I'm digressing. So let's get back to my thing here so I can finish. Let's get this play clock in. I said it was only going to take an hour or less, which is now already taking me 25 minutes. How long have I been streaming? 35 minutes. Oh, I've got 25 minutes left to be within that easy hour I said. Okay, let's get back to it. Nothing's ever as easy as you think it's going to be. I always used to think it was funny because when I was working on my last job, there would be people who, you know how you do agile, and agile is everybody puts an estimate of work. Oh, this is a 1, this is a 2, this is a 3, this is a 5, this is an 8, you know, because they use the Fibonacci scale. Now, anytime somebody would say this is a 1, now our company has a lot of red tape. Now, to me, every task that you give a ranking is from the start of work till the time it's in production. How much effort are you putting in to go from start of work to in production? And a 1 to me is like, I fix it, I deploy it, it's done. I mean, we're talking about an hour's worth of work. Now, people say don't use time measurements. I say that's dumb. You got to measure on something. You can't. I don't believe it's the same thing to say. They say that this thing that takes 6 hours is a 1, and this thing that takes 1 hour is a 1. The 6-hour one is obviously harder because it took 6 hours. And the only way I could ever imagine a longer time thing to be a 1 or to be equal, like if you say, and I'm not talking, I mean, you have a range. Like to me, 1 was 1 to 5 hours. I always gave it 1 to 5 hours. And then 2 was like 5 to 10. Or, you know, everything between that and 10. And then the 3 was up to 15 hours. And then a 5 was up to 25 hours. I mean, I basically, you know, amplified the size. And you had a little bit more play in the bigger items. Because the bigger they are, the more there's questions, right? There's things that could take longer or less time. But the only time two things that are significantly different in the time spent are not measurable. And, you know, like if you say this 10-hour item or 8-hour item is equal to this 1-hour item. The only way that those are the same is if one of them requires like running a process that you don't get to do anything about, that just takes a long time to run. Like say, for example, a quick 1-line code, but you have to run the whole testing suite because that's the process. You know, but this other code doesn't have that full testing suite. It's a microservice that's got a much smaller testing suite, or maybe it's got a different way of being tested, and it only takes like 30 seconds. Well, you have to run this testing suite that takes an hour because it's really long and it's got to go through data and it does all this other junk, or maybe even the build process is building a much bigger project and it takes a lot longer. Those are things that you don't have any control over, but it's the same amount of time you put into it. You run this 1 line of code update. You go run the process. Then you got to get it through to deployment, which hopefully is a lot faster. And those should match. I mean, all the things that don't have time where you're not actually doing anything in them, that's the only time they can be equal. It's the amount of time, effort you put in is what an effort rating it should be. I rank them based on my effort, and I usually give a range. But I don't know. People who say don't use time just don't understand how estimations work. That's just, you can't say that it's not the same. And if it is the same, you can use time, because time is a good measurement of about how long you think it'll be. You know, there's hours of variation. There's things that can distract. Look at me. I'm getting distracted. This is a 1-hour task, and I'm going to be done in a 1 hour and a half because I'm taking too long. Unless I run into problems, which I haven't measured those out because I hadn't fully. I just, you know, this bright idea of putting in a play clock hit me yesterday, and I just now started working on it. So we're going to go ahead and put in here, we'll just say play clock time. And yeah, we'll go up here. And this is going to be a constant because I'm only going to change it like once. So I don't need to do anything else. So what I do need to do is find the top of my page here. We're going to go yeah, it does. But according to agile methodology, it does not. You know, they go, you don't use time for estimations. Is it easy? Is it little easy? Is it somewhat easy? Is it going to be challenging? Is it going to be really challenging? That's how you're supposed to do it. That's how this Fibonacci scale works. It's 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. It can go up, but I've always said you're supposed to get it done in a sprint, a 2-week period. An 8 is like a 40-hour week. Now, granted, it's a 2-week period, but nobody works 100% on something. So if you have a 40-hour item at 8, well, actually, an 8 is like 25 to 30 some hours. You really shouldn't be taking on other stuff because it's so big that the play space is too big, right? Because it's not like, you can get done in 30 hours, which it is it's saying, I think it's somewhere between 25 and 40 hours, which means it could go longer, which means if you only do 4 to 6 hours of, actual head down coding during the week, that means you're getting well into that second week, and you got to remember, you got to get it tested and deployed, and all that stuff has to be included in your stuff. And your work time is only 30 to 40 hours. And you still got to do the other stuff. There's too many questions. When you get a big item, you got to be careful about taking on extra work because there's too many things that can interfere. When there's small items, there's not going to be as much interference. It's a one-line thing. I need to go change the text. It's nothing. And there's probably not going to be a lot of surprises. But you work on a big item that's an 8. Really, an 8 is saying, I can get it done this sprint, but how much, whether or not there's extra time is unknown at this point. That's one of those things, if you take an 8, that's the only thing you take. If you happen to get it done, then pick up a 1. But it's only so much you can do. Okay, so let's get back to my thing here. All right, so I need to put down my countdown ref. Constant, we'll say a play clock ref equals, it's going to use a ref. And then do I want to, well, the handler restart, see, he's doing it with a button. I'm actually just going to call. So he's calling this countdown ref. I'm just going to call mine. See, I'm wondering, how is this getting set? Countdown ref.current. Is he like handle restart? Why would it be? Oh, I guess this is just checking to make sure that the clock has been that's been initialized. Because when you first call these things, when you first call something in React, it processes these. I think it's weird how functions work in React. Like in C#, or I mean, again, I don't know about Blazor, which is C#, but I'm talking about generally in an application. Your code doesn't run when it's compiled or built. It just basically gets set up. It's in memory. It's ready to go. And then when something calls the method, that's when it fires. But in React, you put a function into your code. It runs when it's processing it. It's loading it into memory by way of creating it, running it. So you have to put things in like, oh, has this been called, or have we initialized this method yet? Because we may not initialize it until we're down here somewhere. And if that's the case, we don't want to do nothing here. So you have to put these goofy little checks in to make sure it's currently valid before it processes. Because you can't reset a clock that hasn't been initialized. And this isn't initializing it. All that does is like give yourself a reference that you're going to use. But see, when it renders, that's when it gets initialized, which is going to trigger this function's availability. So yeah, it's kind of weird. So we're going to try this way. So now when my play clock runs, I have to start it immediately after the clock. I have to reset the clock. So we're going to run our play, and then we probably just stick it in here. Reset play clock. Oh, eek, ook, eek, ook, eek, eek, ook. Um, hmm. 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 Just thought about the situation at the end of quarter or the end of a half. You got you got the end of quarter, end of half, which you can have less than 40 seconds left. You can't set the play clock to more than the amount of time that's left. And it's easy enough to set that starting value, but what's not easy is getting the getting React to update that reference. Where am I waiting? Do I wait at a point? I mean, I do have my 5-second wait. Hey, Buffer, how you doing? OXAA55. All right, I'm looking it up. I'm looking at what that is. Hex value 0xAA55. Everybody wants to describe it to me. I don't want to describe it. Just tell me what it means. Just tell me what it is. See, you derailed me. 0x. These numbers have 0 signs. All right, does it have a meaning? Because all it's doing is showing me how to decipher it. I know that it's let's see if Copilot knows. What is the meaning of hex value 0xAA55? Really? The hex value 0xAA5 is quite significant in the realm of computing. It is commonly used as a magic number in several contexts. In the context of a PC's master boot record, MBR, the last 2 bytes of MBR are always 0xAA55. This serves as a significant signature indicating that the sector is a valid boot sector. It is also used in the BIOS, particularly in older systems, as a checksum or a signature value. Well, what piqued my curiosity is that I have a stream viewer here that uses that in his name. Buffer. How's it? All right. Now I get your name. Now I kind of get it. At least I have an idea. So now I'm just going to call you MBR. Every time you come on, I'm going, hey, MBR. It's not the master boot record, but it is always... the last 2 bytes of the MBR. So, master boot record. Huh. Very cool, man. Very cool. So are you a C programmer, C++? I feel like that's the kind of thing somebody who does lower level language programming would know. All right, so I'm trying to. All right, let's finish. I keep saying, oh, where am I at? I got 10 minutes left of trying. I said I'd get this. Oh, this will take less than an hour, and I'm. Let's say it's less than an hour of actual work, which probably buys me back about 15 more minutes, because I have easily distracted myself 15 minutes worth. Okay, but I still thought it would only take like 15. But then I started thinking of all of the permutations that may cause me issues, like getting it to work with in sync with the parent clock, the master clock. Okay, so we got countdown ref. So I think I'm gonna have to have another one that actually changes the time, because my initial time might change. So we're gonna go constant. Do I need to use, I think I might have to use state for the master time. Yeah. I might just stick it on the plate. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stick it on the, I'm going to need it. Now that I think about it, that's information I'm actually going to need at some point. So let's put in the play clock time. Because if the game were to crash, say somebody gets dumped on the, 2 people are playing, or something happens and their game crashes. Well, when they return, I need to be able to save the complete state of the game. And although I do have playtime, which is the total time, I need to keep track of the play clock's time. And it'll have to be, granted, if something crashes, they may have to restart that play. But ideally, if we have the information, we can store the play clock time as well. I don't know how that works, because really the play clock's ticking up until you call a play. So there's certain points at which I would have a play clock. Really? You live in a third world country and nobody would hire you. Well, aren't those like, I guess third world country, so what do? You do the higher end front end stuff? I assume you do something in tech, because something that's a tech person's knowledge. Let's say play clock. Play clock time. Play clock's current time? How about play clock time? I'm trying to think of how. Web development. So you do React? Is that, or are you just? Now I am not. Well, historically, I'm starting to consider myself somewhat of a React developer. I've only been doing it for 5 to 7 months. In fact, really more consistently in the last few months. Man, what third world country do you live in? Man, I would love to be able to live on that. But I couldn't get through I don't think I could get through a week on that. If it was just me, maybe. Yeah, I maybe if it was just me, I'd be living in a shack, but I could do it. But I have a family and I don't live in a shack and I have a car and all that stuff. You can't live on that. Man, that's Kurdistan region, Iraq. Oh wow. Not a fan over there, are you? Well, I feel for you, man. I hope it gets better. Whatever the situation is for you, man. I hope it improves. Because I know, I mean, even in a first world country like the U.S. here, there's we have a lot going. I mean, I'm blessed. I don't argue with that. Just living here is a blessing. But I also know that it can be rough anywhere. Everybody's has their moment. There's a huge difference. No man life is very tough for tech people. Well, it can be very tough because work is not that easy to come by these days. I've been out of work now for going on 9 months. That's and if you're out of work, doesn't matter how tech savvy you are. If people aren't hiring you because you don't have the skills that are currently in demand, uh, it can get kind of hairy. That's for sure. Things can get pretty tough. But luckily, I've been working for a while, so I have a little bit of money saved up. But it's been rough. And this is why I decided I wanted to find something that I like doing that maybe I could try to make a, a job for myself. But I don't, I can't, this is not going to make money. If I get it done, it might make money. But what the problem is that it takes years to develop a game. It takes a lot of years. And, well, any amount of years is a lot of years when you've got no money. So we're talking, I think in up to 24 months, 12 to 24 months, and that's depending on at what stage I want to make it available publicly. So it might be available in some form of a beta in a year, but it'd be pretty low key. And then I keep upgrading and making it better over the next year to where it's closer. But what do I release in 2 years? It all depends on what I could get done. That's 2 years of that ends up being close to 3 years of unemployment. So I need to have a different income source, which I don't really. My wife doesn't make that much, and so basically I'm tapping into my unemployment, or not my employment, my retirement to do that. So I don't think I can. I have to go find a real job. So we'll see. Kinda. You can. Fiverr, again, people are going to want what you do, right? They got to want what you do. And you got to want to do what they want. Now, if you're like, I don't care. If you're a heads down coder, there's plenty of people who are heads down coders, don't get me wrong. They're just like, give me a challenge, I'll do it. I don't care what it is. But I'm kind of a design oriented person, so I struggle with heads down coding, where somebody just says, go do this. Because I want to look at it, I want to understand how it works, I want to improve it. I want to do more than just someone say, I need this little piece on my website, please go do this for me for X dollars. And that's kind of the thing, right? So I don't know, but you're right. Fiverr could be a way to go, and maybe that's something I can do to try to give myself some distraction that might make some money. I hadn't really tried it. I looked into it once when I was doing miniatures painting, and wanted to maybe make some money doing that. Then I decided I like miniatures painting. I think if I did it for other people, I'd stop liking it because I'd be painting something I can't keep. Yeah, and creating something you enjoy. Like, what if Like there's a lot of apps, a lot of companies making apps that I like. What a boring app to make. It's like I don't want to work on that piece of code. They're doing this weird little thing with this thing over there. It doesn't do anything. It's like I worked in an insurance agency or an insurance company. It wasn't an insurance agency. It was a company here in the U.S. And all their stuff was claims and uh, insurance related stuff, which I had no interest in other than the fact that I had insurance and I was, it's health insurance and kind of like, okay, I understand what they're trying to accomplish here, but this is boring. This is not an interesting subject. Now, I had a job I liked because outside of the context of what we did there as a company, I was creating this cool project that let me really get into the weeds and dig up and create something that was pretty awesome. I was able to design. So I spent 14 years there creating this application that I really liked doing. But in the end, from the outside observer, it's probably boring. In fact, when we had to bring people in to train, they were probably not very thrilled because they were just learning how to support it and do tweaks to an app that they had no input into. So it was kind of probably boring. And it's hard to motivate when you're not excited about your work. So I would love to be a game programmer that created something that was kind of cool and was getting it out there because that would be a fun thing to do. So I said, well, shoot, man, I have a game I can make because nobody else has made this game. So let's go be that guy. And ultimately, I just decided to kind of get this going because I don't have a job, so there's not much else for me to do until I do. And plus, I don't know what a reasonable value is. I live in probably one of the highest cost of living states in the country. And I live in an expensive country. So, so it's kind of like doing work for someone else who lives in a country that's not as expensive. They're not going to want to pay. I mean, it's like if you're in India or China or something where they're used to getting lower pay rates, and this is why overseas is getting so many of our jobs here in the US because they outsource because they charge less. So it's hard for me living where I live to compete with people who are doing the same thing for half the price or quarter the price because their cost of living is a lot less and they're used to making less. So when you live in California, California is not much better. I mean, yeah, they have a cost of living that's very close to it. It might, depending on where you live in California, they're probably pretty close. Because I know Washington State here, where I live in the Seattle, greater Seattle area, is, I think we're like top 2 or 3, right up there with like New York City and I think probably California somewhere or another. So yeah, we live in that really rough space of it's hard to compete with people doing what do you call it, freelance work because we have to charge a lot more just to live. Now, if I wanted to compete at a fair rate, now I could probably charge less, but I would only want to do tasks that take a few days a week at a time. I wouldn't want to get into a task that takes months because that's a lot to commit to at a much lower rate. Oh, so you don't live there? Well, that's right. Now where are you from? No, I was. You're. I had another guy who was on here, who's from Mexico, but that wasn't you. That was another guy. Where are you? Where do you Nintendo now? Nintendo has a base here in Washington State, or they used to anyway. They used to have one of their main locations used to be up here. I think it's over in Bellevue. I think I want to say it was in Bellevue. I actually have applied at Nintendo a number of times to work, and yeah, you set your price on Fiverr, but again, that's what I'm saying. I would have to offer lower than cost of living up here, but it might be cheaper. Ohio? Oh, hi. Oh, I, I've been to I've been to Origins a few times, and do you know what Origins is? It's a board gaming convention. I mean, but imagine if you're anywhere near Columbus, you would know what Origins is. It's one of the bigger board game conventions here in the United States. But if you're not into board games, maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. But, I mean, it's kind of hard to not hear about things when you live in the area. All right, where was I? Okay, so let's put in constant. We're going to change my... Oh, I don't need to. Never mind. I'm using the time on my... I forgot. I'm using the time on my play. Oh yeah, well, you're right, Buffer. I'm not going to ever argue with the fact that we've got it pretty good. I mean, as far as overall infrastructure and just the quality of life here in the United States is, it's above a lot, especially a lot of third world countries. So I'm not comparing quality of the life around us, because I know it can be pretty rough in other countries. I've been blessed so much in my life, and it's, I can't ever understate that enough, so, or overstate that, never overstate that enough. Yeah, I can never overstate that enough. Either way, I can't speak highly enough of it, because the Lord's blessed me greatly, and I know that even in the current situation, I've got it pretty good for a guy who hasn't been able to work in the last 8 months. I've been doing good. Now, it can get worse, so I don't want to. I know I'm not in a situation where I can't work anymore, but also I don't want to not work, so that's not really the point. I like doing stuff, and I would love to get to work on something that allows me to, brings me joy and possibly brings joy to others, like a game. That's kind of my ultimate goal. I've spoken about this a number of times on my stream, and I bring it up about once every month. And so I haven't said it this month, so I think we're good. I don't want to repeat myself too much. I have a business plan I've been building up. I want to build my business, not just about making games. It's called, my company is Active Minds Games, and I created a storage case. And it's a hobby thing, right? So I made it, sold it, I've sold out, and I want to make more, but I have to figure out how to do that. I'm trying to build up following for that. But I have this bigger plan for my company. I want to be able to get it going where I'm able to hire people. And this is kind of a dream, because right now it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just hiring good quality developers and designers can be expensive. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to take some miracle. But my dream is to create a business that actually purposefully hires people who have been out of work for a long time, but that are actively looking, but like their unemployment has run out. And we hire at better, it's still low salary, but what our job would be is not just to hire people to work within the company and help, But we would hire people who want to learn new tech, new common tech, new skills that that align with their aptitude. So in other words, like for me, it's, my aptitude is programming and and product design. So being able to get into something, a company, like for my company, it would be, I do that stuff, but I mean, others that might want to get in to a company who maybe they have an aptitude for programming, but they've been programming in C for their whole life, or C sharp, and they're doing .NET framework like me, and they're outdated. They would come in at the lower salary, but we would train them in this new skill. They would earn on the job practical work because they'd be helping us to design our stuff while we train them. And we have a whole division set up that's set up to get them jobs at other companies. And they would work with us for 1 to 2 years, or it doesn't even have to be that long, as soon as we can get them placed, because we would have a whole division whose whole purpose is to take their job set, their skill set, help them out with their resumes and interview skills, and get them placed in another job. But in the meantime, they're basically being paid to go to school. I mean, they're going to be with us learning how to do something, practical work, and they would be able to go, learn their skills, get some money, better pay than unemployment, but yet they'd be motivated to move on. And it'd probably only be part-time work, so they could look for work on their own or take care of family or whatever they got to do during their unemployed period. But they would only have they would work for us maybe 20 hours a week or 25 hours a week or whatever. And they would get paid to learn, and they would be getting job placement assistance from people who are dedicated. Their job is to get you put into another job. So basically, we have people that are designed to make people leave our company. That's what I dream of. I want to be able to do that. And so I understand that that's going to slow development for the company's products. Hopefully, eventually we'll get them out. But I would hire core people full-time. I'd have full-time core people. So I have my people who are leading the department for getting people into jobs. I've got people who are leading the development of our projects, but who like to teach because they're going to be teaching people to do that. But they're good at what they do to the point, very good at what they do to the point where we'll be paying them pretty well. But we only have a few of those. We'd have top quality programmers in each section, or maybe they're in the board game section where they're graphic design and game design, and we help train people to go get those kind of jobs. Whatever it is that the company focuses on, we'd hire people in each department to learn that department's functionality, get on the job experience, and then we would help them find other work and actually act as their references and whatever they need to help get into these new jobs. And if they got maybe an interview coming up, we train them on, interview for that kind of job, because that's what people need. Around here, it's so hard to get jobs. And I think it would be cool to be able to have give somebody a resource, because once you run out of unemployment, it gets scary. And for a lot of people, it can get really rough. You lose your house, your cars, your life starts to fall apart if you can't find work. And, it's got to be realistic. People have to be willing. Obviously, we're not paying them the price of a full-time job. So we understand that they wouldn't be able to make as much, but also they're gaining something. So they got to want what they're getting in exchange for giving us 20 hours of their time. But that's my dream company. It's like if I had a bag of money fall on my house. I always reference that because I'm always thinking God saying, "Here, use this." That's like, win the lotto kind of thing, where you just suddenly have the money to do it. That's my dream. I want to have a company where I can do that and focus not only on creating cool products, but that's almost the secondary effect. The goal is to actually help other people learn new skills that are fun to learn, because working with games, be it digital games or board games or whatever, is fun. Now, yeah, there's some things about those processes that aren't necessarily fun, but you're working in a company that's creating cool things, and it just makes it a little bit more interesting, right? So and there's a lot of departments and functionality that you can have that will provide a lot of different kind of work skills. And so I would think we would have things like coding, like, again, I'm going to be writing this program. Yeah, that's kind of the idea, of just being able to give people a chance. It would. I was thinking too, maybe I could work with like the unemployment agencies that are over here. Say, you got people coming to the end of their time. Use us as a resource. Let them know that they can contact us, and maybe we can help them get work. Because I want to hire mostly part-time people, mostly because it gives us a chance to help more people. Because obviously we can't be hiring people to take up all those times, because those slots need to help us train more people. So, but again, it's going to be a company that takes a long time to get products out, because we need to make sure they get done right. But also, that's secondary. So it's going to take a huge amount of initial cash flow. But once the company starts making products, hopefully we're able to, have a little bit of that comes back. But if it's a nonprofit, because we're doing this service, I feel like it could be a nonprofit that could maybe do some fundraising and be able to function off of, nonprofit status in some way to help the overall community. But that's, who knows? Again, it's going to take a miracle on the level of something only the Lord can help with, because I don't know where that money's going to come from, short of a miraculous investor of some kind. And I've been working on the business plan for a couple months now, but I don't know. Trying to think of expensive things to do when you're unemployed is kind of silly. So I got to work on, let's just get myself producing some income, which, I am actually launching an Indiegogo campaign to try to raise money for me to do this project, to work on this app full time. But I got to do it like in 1 month increments, because I'm not a marketing guy. I'm not out there trying to sell my project to everybody. And I know I have to do it, like, if I do it a month and it takes 2 years to get this out, that's 24 campaigns. So people aren't gonna just come and back me for 24 months. Yeah, that's true. I mean, biblically speaking, but it's not a guarantee. It's one of those things, like what they say, when you pray, you should expectantly pray. Expectant, like you expect God to do what you expect. But that's not exactly how it's going to work. Yes, the Lord wants to provide, and He will, but the Lord knows best. If you ask for something and He's like, yeah, that's not for you. Now, He's not going to tell you that, because who gets the privilege of an actual conversation? So there are times when you're probably, like they say, that God will always answer your prayers. Just sometimes He says no. He's like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. So that's always been my struggle, really. I mean, I know the Lord's provided for me, and He always does. But when I ask specifically for things, and I know it's never a doubt in my mind that He's capable of giving you anything you ask for. It's just that He's not always going to do it. That's the thing. So, besides, how many millions of people every day earnestly, faithfully, and believingly pray for stuff, pray for anything, and don't get it? or even if they all pray for the same thing, that's a problem because everybody can't have the same thing. There's only so many lottos to go around. So there's only so much you can get. So you gotta just know that, praying is important. I mean, if you're a Christian or whatever, but it's not. I mean, I think it's important even if you're not. But that's a whole nother bottle of wax. But I just think you've got to have your faith grounded enough to understand that what you ask for is probably not always what's best for you. And so I understand that. And maybe there's something I don't know. Why certain things. I think certain things you just don't have any control over. But I think I know God's got something planned. And I'll tell you, I have been so motivated to get this project going. It almost feels supernatural. I have never been so fired up about something. Not since I got the Mage Cage developed and actually I didn't. I'll tell you this right now. When I designed the Mage Cage, which is a storage, an expandable, transportable display case I created, which I usually have a little video running on my screen for it, 15 years ago. I created it because I had miniatures that I was trying to find a place to carry them, and I didn't like what was out there. And I was like, how on earth do I ever get this thing to market? I had no idea. I had no clue. I just wanted to design this thing, and I started playing with it, and I was like, this is coming out kind of cool. I can make these cases do this and this and this, and then I started designing how they work, and then I said, you know what? I want to see one of these in reality. I want to try to make some. So this was back when 3D printing was crap. I mean, it was not good, and it cost a ton because you always had to go to another company because nobody had 3D printers, and so I paid like $1,500 to get 4 samples of this case, and it worked. They all connected, but they eventually broke because it was crap, right? I mean, the materials aren't great, and it was very thick, and it wasn't perfect, but it worked. And but so I took the cases while they were still in a functional state, put my pieces in there, and I'm like, these are really slick. I'm going to take them to a local convention and just kind of see what people think. So I went to like a comics book convention because the game that I had designed them for was called HeroClix, which still exists. If you've heard of it, it's still out there. And I wanted to kind of see just what people thought. So I took it to this convention, and now I am not a marketing guy. I don't even like to talk about. I won't talk about something like. For one thing, I should be trying harder to market my Indiegogo campaign, right? I'm going to launch it in like a day, and I only mention it once every other stream, or in this case twice, only because I've gotten off on this tangent. But I just don't like asking for stuff, money, and selling things. It's tough, and you can see I have no problem talking. That's easy. I can talk. But when you start asking for stuff, trying to get people to go, ooh, let me buy that from you, I have trouble with it. These cases, super easy, because all I had to do was walk around with them, and people were like, dude, those are cool, man. Where do I get those from? Oh, man, because at the time, HeroClix was huge. It had just come out within a few years, and they were just like, these are awesome. How do I get these? And I'm like, these are the only ones, but it's good to know you like them, because that's kind of what I'm out here for, trying to decide if they're worth producing or whatever. And it's like, oh man, yeah, I would love to get me some of those. And I was like, oh, that's really encouraging. So I put out this questionnaire just out on the internet. At the time, the internet was kind of iffy, but it was better. It was early 2000s, so it was better than, we were just getting going. The whole boom and bust stuff, this was just before the bust. So I didn't know anything about web stuff, but I created a little web page, and I sent out a link to a couple of these miniatures related sites and asked people what they thought. And so I was just asking questions. What would be a good price? How much would they pay? What did they think about this? And it was just a survey. And I got like 90% positive responses about this thing. And I was fired up. I was like, how much would this cost to make? So I started asking around. I went to an engineer, a local engineer up here, and asked them, what would it cost to do this? They go, well, we can make it, actually makeable, because it was a 3D print, so they make it exactly like you want, but that wasn't actually something you could injection mold because it had things that needed to be tweaked. So I worked with the 3D engineer who fixed it, helped me get the functionality I want, and came out. It was great. It was beautiful. I mean, this was like, oh, now I'm just so pumped. I want to get this made. And so I started, I had to find a manufacturer. I knew nothing about manufacturing, and I looked at how much it would cost. I almost threw in the towel. I wanted to get it made, so I called a manufacturer here in the U.S., and they quoted it. It's going to cost like $100,000 to make the mold and get some of these things made. I'm like, okay, well, that was a dream. Whatever, I'm done. But I didn't really give up that easy. But I was like really concerned. I said, you know what? I'm going to have to look into doing this overseas just to see if it's any different. Who do I contact? I was going to some conventions, game conventions, and trying to meet up with people at like a GAMA, which is a trade convention for games, board games. And I met with a company guy from Ultra Pro. These are the people that make sleeves and stuff for cards and a lot of other stuff too. They make storage binders and all kinds of stuff. And I met a guy, really nice guy. He worked in their manufacturing side. He says, oh yeah, you should reach out to these guys and these guys. And he just gave me all kinds of clues. And I'm like, this guy he's just there. I didn't even have to look this guy up. And he was just there willing to help. And I was like, that's really cool. And I started really seeing God working. And I started looking around and thinking about it. And just things were just falling into place. Like the bricks are being laid out before me as each step I took. And I was like, this is really coming together. And I just really realized, God's helping me do this. I mean, I was praying for help, but I mean, he was really doing something to help me make it happen. I reached out to this place in China. They gave me a quote, and I'm like, that's almost doable. Those numbers were conceivable. It was still expensive. Don't get me wrong, but it was way less. Way crazy less to get the mold made, and to get the units made. So I started looking around how I could fund it. I ended up funding most of it myself, which was scary. And I did it. I started making the units. I had him do the mold. I went for it. My dad helped me out a little bit. He gave me a little. I paid him back once it all sold. But I was afraid to commit. In other words, I only made enough to pay everything off. I just wanted to see it get into the world. So I made 9,000 units, which by the way was way more than I needed because again, I was really new to this. I made 9,000 units, 8,880, so something like that. And so basically it was a half container load of a ship. Those big containers, it was about half of one of those was filled with my cases. I brought them, I had them ship them down. By the time they were made and manufactured and in my hands, I'd probably say it was over a year from the time I actually started the full process, which nowadays would probably be longer because manufacturing is a much slower process now because there's so much backflow of stuff. It takes forever to get things done. But I got them in. I went to a convention. I took way too much. Again, I didn't really know the process. I had really high hopes. I sold a ton, but I didn't sell anywhere near what I expected. I sold a lot. They were going out pretty fast. It took about 3 years. I was hoping like 6 months. It took about 3 years to sell out. I mean, really down to the point where I only had 100 or so left. I was nervous, but I was like, I need to make some more. So I had a little bit left. I had some money made from those, and I went ahead and made more, but I didn't make enough to make a full container load. So I made enough of a upgraded version. I made changes because I found flaws in the design. Like the doors would open if you pushed down on the top because they didn't have any way to lock themselves shut. And I slowly improved those. I made an improvement. And then my next wave, I made enough to make the X case, which is the newest version of these cases, which has no ribs on the inside. And it actually supported a lot more products. in the end, making a long story only slightly less long, I had one Kickstarter a few years ago to make a clear version of the case, because they had actually technology had upgraded, and they now had a ability to make a case out of clear material. And I made those, again, only making enough to pay off the product, and I sold out of them in 3 months. I made like, what did I make, like 2,000 units, something like that, total of all the units. And I made those, sold out, and that's where I'm at now. I've sold out. I've sold over 20,000 total units of these things, and I've never produced enough to make the next production run. And now I said, that's it. Next time I make these, I'm making enough to make more. I'm just going to just go for it. I'm going to sell. But now I'm in that state where I can't do it without a Kickstarter, because I'm not putting money into it. As I can't, it's too much risk at this point. You know, I got to at least have some significant amount backing, because the demand now is people want a bigger unit. They want these units, but they want bigger ones too, so they can put bigger stuff inside there. So I designed a bigger unit. I designed inserts and shelves and drawers and all this stuff to go inside the cases, so that you can divide them and put different kinds of stuff in there, and you can carry your tokens and gaming pieces with you when you go places with your miniatures, all inside the cases. And that's what I plan for the Kickstarter. But again, I'm terrible at marketing. Never been great at it. I'm learning what I need when I go to conventions to keep the costs down of those. I'm learning to be more efficient with what I know, but I'm still just not a marketing guy. And so I looked into professional marketing assistants, people who focus on that, and it's $5 to $10 grand to get a good campaign going. And I looked at multiples, and several with really good, feedback, and people have used them, and a lot of games they've helped launch that were very familiar to me. And I was like, man, I want to help. I want to use these guys, but I don't have $5 to $10 grand to give them. And again, it's all up front, because they're going to help you launch this thing. You don't have any money yet, so you're really gambling on the success. This company won't even take you unless they think you can succeed with it. But that doesn't mean they have options where you get a part of it comes out of what you make. So they're gambling a little bit on you too. Which is awesome if they're willing to do that. That means that they believe in the product, and I believe in it. I believe it sells well, but I don't know if I can make this next Kickstarter for that product. It's going to be like $105,000. That's a big Kickstarter. My previous Kickstarter that I sold out of was like, well, it was $15,000. I made like 20. That's 1/5 of what I needed. What I'll need to make this next Kickstarter. And I don't know, man. I need to be a better marketer, and without marketing, it's going to be hard. But that's what I'm saying. That's what I do. I design, I create. I feel like I can make good products. I know how to look into it in a way that people want this thing. And that's why I feel like I could do this. And I feel like I said, I feel like I was being guided. You know, the Lord was helping me make that happen. It was a cool product, and things just fell into my lap. I'd get people coming from out of the woodwork to ask me questions or even provide information that I wasn't even thinking how I would reach them. Having people that were like willing to give up time to do something that helped them in no way, like the guy from Ultra Pro who helped me tons without getting anything. Ultra Pro actually wanted to buy the product from me, but I learned that they wanted to sell it for like more than double what I was going to sell it for, and I was like, that's too expensive, because this is a multi-purchase product. People need to be able to buy more than one. You're trying to sell it where they're only going to buy one, and then And then they wouldn't give me any kind of timeline when they would have it in production. And I was like, so it may never come to life. And then what? I have no, it never happens. So I didn't sell it to Ultra Pro. Do I regret that? No, I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. I loved doing it, and I'm looking forward to making more and being able to have that option. And the odd thing is, at this point in time, 15 plus years later, I'm going to be selling them for like $18, which is almost double what I charge. But now things are a lot more expensive, so things just cost more. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but they got to get made first. So anyway. So that was a 20-minute disperse of my gaming design prowess digression. Okay, back to it again. I keep going back. All right, we got our thing. Let's go set up my time. All right, so I was going to go down here and set my play clock info right after the play ran, which is, I should probably do it right here when the clock runs. Might even be better. If no, that's if it's less than 0. So we got to actually do it less than 40, I guess. So if time in quarter is less than 40, then we'll go here. Then we're going to set init. I can't spell, where's my R? Init play clock time equals init play clock time equals time in quarter. Actually, you know what? Let's just do this. This will be better, because then I can do it all in one line. We'll just say let init play clock time, time in quarter is less than 40. We'll say time in quarter, else it will be 40. Yeah. And then we will take my init play clock time and we will put it down on my turkey butts. I don't have that as an option. I got to put it in my game state. I always try to add stuff. It's a lot harder to add stuff to my current play than it is to add to my game state, because my game state is what's going on right now. And this should probably be 40 to start. And my current play is the play info that's fed back to me from the database, or from the play calls. Now, ultimately, I may have to pass some of this stuff up. A lot of this is going to come from the database, because these are like values that I don't want to store in the app. Right now, I'm setting it at 40, and I'm using 40. But ultimately, all that stuff, all those settings, needs to come from the database source, so that whenever I create UIs and other applications, like the mobile app, it's going to be able to just get all that stuff and we just display it. So you don't want to be setting variables, constants, in a bunch of different locations, unless it's, because if you ever change it, if the NFL decides they're going to go with a 30-second clock or 35-second clock, which I don't even know. I'm pretty sure it's still 40-second clock if they change it.
Now that we talked about transitions, I want to point out the fact that you don't really need to use the animate property.
Pretty sure it's 40 seconds. But who knows? They may have changed it to 35 or some crazy thing. Oh. All right. I gotta say, I'm not... What the heck is all this? Oh, I'm on videos? How did I end up there? 40 seconds. Okay, there we go. It's still 40 seconds. It used to be longer, I think. The game clock starts at 15 minutes and it ticks down during active play every quarter. On the other hand, the play clock initially set at 40 seconds begins counting down when the previous play concludes, giving the offense time. Yeah, okay, so it's 40 seconds. All right. I was pretty sure of that, but, you know, I could have been all this, who knows, they could have changed it 5 years ago to 35-second clock, and I'd be like, huh, no wonder things seem to be faster. Oddly enough, games rarely snap with more than 5 seconds left on the clock. These teams are pretty good at using up all their time. And it goes fast, because you got to figure, if they make a 20-yard gain, everybody needs to come together on that 20-yard mark, and you know, then that takes probably 10 or 15, 20 seconds. So now they've got 10 or 15, 20 seconds to actually get the play, tell everybody what to do, get back to the line. So it's rare that they snap in less than, you know, 40 seconds or 35 seconds. This is why they're always so close to getting over on time. Now, occasionally they take several seconds at the line and they're there. You know, they might hurry to the line and they have 10 or 15 seconds. But then they're setting the play at the line, right? He's yelling and screaming. He's got guys moving around, and they're trying to do it at the line of scrimmage to kind of, you know, discombobulate the defense. But they're still getting down to those last seconds a lot of times. So I'll go here, comma, play clock time. All right. So that should get us back on the right clock. So what I might do is, since I know I'm doing I'm trying to figure out how best. I do have a time check. I'm pretty sure I have a time check in here somewhere. Yeah, here it is, the time check. So that's real time, though. So what I'm thinking is, I am going to there's a certain amount of real time that needs to occur in order for the play to even run. Maybe this works. I'm trying to decide if I want to try to adjust the time. I feel like as long as I don't ever go under the amount of time that my delay is, we'll be okay, because I want this to overlap. Because I do have a delay built into each play, like 5 seconds. So it can't snap the next play until we run. But I got to make sure that my clock kind of runs down to that same period of time. So I'm probably going to have it be... So basically, for my purposes, the game's going to look like it's being rushed because the clocks go... it's like 5 seconds at a time. Unless I slow down the clock delay. In which case, I have to slow down the play clock. So I'll have to try to keep them in sync in some way. So that's kind of what I'm working on here. So... let's go here. We got... I did put in the play clock. This is going to have to be game state. game state dot init play clock time. That's what I want. Okay. So we get down here and I go back up here. Okay, so I'm not doing the button thing. Countdown ref. Oh, I gotta put this in here too. Ref equals play clock ref. All right, so we got our ref. We've got our initial time. Play clock time, okay. Now I don't really need to do anything with regards to, other than maybe set my style or something in here. Let's adjust the style after. I want to see what this looks like. Let's just put it in place. All right, so we have our play clock. Here. I do have stuff set for it, so it's going to drop it out anyway. And I believe I already updated it to this version. Yeah, I think so. I didn't really change much in here, except I do want it called play clock. Okay. And we're going to go back here, make sure I don't have a reference that's off. Go down. I don't think I need to reference it with the same name. I did put framer motion in here. I've got some brilliant plans for trying to implement that. So right now when it plays, you know, the football kind of goes, you know, kind of moves up and down. I want to see if I can use framer motion to have it just slide to the next spot. Just kind of move a little kinder throughout. So it's first and goal. Just kind of have that kind of not jerky motion. Eventually I want to do something cooler, like if it's a kick, maybe have it arc to the next spot. Or if it's a field goal kick, have it arc to wherever it goes. So I think that would be kind of slick. So the ball starts moving according to what's actually happening. Now I don't know. I mean, what would I have to do? It's like if I'm kicking it, I'd have to rotate it 45 degrees, and then it would have to rotate like 1 degree less throughout the arc, so that it's eventually at negative 45 degrees. So 1 degree at every spot. I don't know. Okay. I don't know, man. I'm getting all these ideas in my head. I want to start getting all that in there. And it's all just, it's not just eye candy, because that stuff's going to have to be done. I'm going to have to do something similar to that when I start implementing Unity engine, because that's going to have to be even prettier, right? Because the web stuff is like low grade graphics in comparison to what I need to come up with on Unity. I haven't even learned Unity yet, but I see the stuff that Unity can do, and I'm like, cool. And I'm just thinking, how does that work in my game though? Because I'm not going to have all the people parts. People running around, fighting, shooting, guns, whatever they're doing. Football players, because I'm not doing that. I would love to be able to do that, but I don't think that's going to be in there. Maybe. I would love to be able to do like maybe small people running on the field. Like I saw one of the games I was looking at, one of the online mobile games, or not, one of the mobile games I saw had small like cartoon football players, and it looked really good. I kind of like that. I wouldn't mind that necessarily. I didn't like the game. The game was terrible, but the way the players moved on the field, that's to me kind of along the lines what I'd like to see, because it gives you some visual effects and it's kind of fun to watch the guys do their thing. I don't know how well you could tie those guys' motion to the you could tie them to a play, I'm sure, but I don't know how much, there's not a lot of physics when they hit, boom, tackle or not. It's not going to be like, ooh, all that stuff that you get from Madden. It'd be like just guys doing what they do. And like I said, the game is currently named Pro Football Fantasy Manager, and the thought there is it could be like fantasy football, so I could go that way, but I kind of thinking I was going to change what the characters look like, so they would look like their mascots. The only drawback to that is when you trade a player, do they change shape? No. I would think that they are what the mascot is of the team that they're coming from. Like my NFL stats are based on an actual player. So if they have a team, the V-Born Scorned, who hint the Denver Broncos, if a player comes from that, they would look like that type of character, a Scorned, and that would be their thing. So if they if they're playing on a different team, they would just be a Scorned player wearing the uniform of that team. So we'd have all these different characters, and I really like the way that could look. You'd have all these different, so you would know these characters aren't from that team, their original build. So when you have, if you have your team out there and they've got players from 15 different NFL teams, real life NFL teams, they'd have all these different characters on your field. And they'd all be wearing the same uniform, but they'd be different characters. I think that's kind of cool. So you would know that they're not all from the same team. Now, if you're building a synergistic team, you might have a bunch of players from the same team, so they'd all look kind of the same. I like the way that sounds. I think that would be kind of cool. You got to come up with something, right? You got to have a visual hook. If you can't use the actual NFL, come up with something that looks fun. But I got to figure out, again, I have to figure out all that stuff. That's coming down the line. We're not there yet. I would love to get an artist would help me render some what do you call it? Potential images of what I want to do. Just help me have some mock-up stuff so that when I'm doing my future Indiegogos that tell what I want to do, what the plans are, all that stuff starts to take shape a little bit. Now, granted, everything's going to be one of those big caveat things. This is not locked in stone. These are the things we have in mind for future renditions. It may or may not look exactly or totally different from this. Just so people know what's on the docket, but it may not come out exactly. Hopefully, it would look, it would fall into those same general schemas, but anyway. What did I do? I finished doing this. Let's go ahead and run it. I think I put all of the parts in place. I got the play ref. I've got the setting of the clock. I've got the initial clock. I've got the place to put the clock. So it's not going to work because nothing works on the first try. And I've been distracted. So let's see what we got. Whoops, what? Did we blow up? Wait, why is it not running? Oh, there it goes. Well, don't know about you, but I do not see a game clock. Where's the game? Oh, hey, we got errors. We got errors. Play clock is using incorrect casing. What? Use Pascal case for React components or lowercase for HTML components. Oh, so it's all or nothing. All right. Where's my play clock? See, this is why when you have to do one or the other, you have to go all lowercase, because everything accepts lowercase, but some things don't accept uppercase. What's the next problem? React does not recognize initial time prop on a DOM element. Oh, wait, what did I do? Ah, boo. Like I said, things don't work on the first try. I obviously missed something. Initial time is a variable. Oh, probably because I gave it a variable name, but I didn't actually use. Did I not call that initial time? All right, so this is the function. Initial time is part of the countdown clock. Initial time is the value that it's supposed to be, so that would be the value when you use. Oh, well, it's play clock. Am I not calling? No, it is play clock. Okie dokie. Play clock does have an initial time. Play clock does have an initial time. At time left. So does that mean this has to be lowercase? Maybe it's complaining because... Oh, wait. It might be this. I can't use that. Let's go see. Because it doesn't like that. Why isn't it recognizing it? So we are play clock. Same place as the special teams play. Yes. But so this guy has countdown clock, which is right here, which is funny because it didn't get that casing issue. Because so his thing doesn't work. His thing, AI, dude, you gave me a bad piece of code. Because it's using the uppercase countdown clock thing here. And I'm using, and I tried to use it and it complained. You know, I don't think I put this thing in. I need to have a, I don't have a function that resets my clock. Countdown ref, so I got play clock ref. Right here, play clock, initial time, play clock ref. does exist. But I do need to change, I need to do this thing. And probably let's go back to here. I think I need to set it. I want it to run. So I want to start it right after the play runs. But I really can't, because it's not going to run until we do the update. And we update initial time. Alright, let's try this. I will have to update initial time as well. To update the initial time dynamically and restart the timer from the parent page, you can modify the countdown clock component to accept updates to initial time and respond accordingly. Okay, well, it's doing the same thing. Oh, but then we have time left. Time left, set time left. Let's see here. Kind of looks like it's the same, so maybe I don't have to do anything. Container, styles timer, time left. Huh, I guess it is the same. Didn't really do anything, because it was already giving me that. I had initial time in there. I am kind of curious how this reset's going to work. Okay, so back to my task. So we have the set. We are setting our clock inside of here, which is going to initialize it. But then it's not going to set until it sets, and then we have to wait. Problem is, I have to actually let all this stuff happen before I can let the clock be our delay. Because stuff just happens, man. Minus min time between plays. Min time between plays. Date now minus min time is greater than. So I have to basically make sure we subtract our min time between plays. Because I won't. That clock. Let's do this. Let's put it right here. Countdown ref.current.reset. Because I think when I do the reset, see, it doesn't do anything except get called. Oh, this is where things change. They got to set the initial time. But I am doing it. I have an initial time value. Oh, but we got to set it with the time. Okay, that makes sense. So that means I'm here. We're gonna have game state ref dot current dot init play clock time, which should be this. Okay, so we got init play clock time, which I'm pretty sure I'm putting the right case on it, right? Okay, yeah, got my right play clock time. All right, so this should have me put in a go date now minus. Okay, so this will set the clock a ticking. What that also means, though, is I've got to update how. How do I start the actual clock? I don't care. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Let's get one clock working before I start worrying about the other clock. I may have to. What I'm thinking is the game clock will become its own separate clock, which is a whole nother component, which is going to do its own thing, and it's going to get updated according to the values that we're setting. And then it's got to, basically, they'll both be running together as a separate clock. We'll have the play clock and the game clock will tick at their own pace, which is gonna start becoming a thing. It'll be cool, but it's gonna be a thing. And maybe I won't do that yet. Maybe I'll do play clock. Maybe I'll do play clock today, and then start working on the back end, because I got to spend time on the back end. I got to do that. But I like to do. I don't need to do all my graphic updates at once. I need, get one little thing in, and then I can say, okay, today we're going to try to synchronize the play clock, so that they can kind of tick together. But I think at this point, if I don't want to spend all my time today working on this one element. So let's see if I can get the clock in place, and then maybe tomorrow my graphical thing will be trying to get the actual play clock in sync. I think it'll be pretty easy to create a play clock item, but right now I do a lot of clock manipulations. It's basically going to be the same thing where I set the starting value like we see here. I have the time that's left and the quarter time value here. So what I'll probably end up doing is creating a component that takes this quarter time and updates the output, and we end up with like a play clock component that's doing the same basic thing. Component definition is missing display time. What? Display name. Oh, display name. Component definition is missing display name. Play clock JSX. What's it talking about here? So it's here? The display name? I don't even know if I want this piece. I just want the rendering of the clock. Styles. Timer. I don't even know if I'm going to render any. I think I'm just going to have it pop it out. That's all it's going to do. I just want the time, because I'm thinking I'm going to use my styles that are part of my, I guess I could try to use my, Yeah, maybe that's true. I should have the whole component be here. Maybe I should just do the whole component here. So if I do that, and then have game result, what is my function? Special team space. So the nav bar, no, I don't want that one. So it's a simulator module here. Alright, so if we're going to do that, I have to go to the play clock. And that's the container and the timer, which is just the font size. Container is the div that's wrapping it. So that's all right. Let's go with styles. We'll call it container. Oops. All right. Play clock box. And styles, play clock text, and then we'll take all this, we'll dump all of that, and then we're going to go over to my modules. And we're going to go play clock box, which is alright, so I can get rid of that, and then display. Oh, this is semicolons. Let's bring in a second hand. It doesn't like something. Some of these things might not be valid for where I'm at, for the way I'm setting up this style. But dot play clock text. This one doesn't have much because I'm not doing much with it yet. So it's font dot dash size. It doesn't like 5rem. Whatever 5rem is, apparently is not going to allow it. Okay. It's not being closed. All right, so do I have a background color here? I do not have a background color, so I can't use it as an example. I think what it is I don't think I need quotes. Because none of this stuff uses quotes. Okay, so it's not center, color, font size, font family, font. This is a lot of font changing. Font family, font dash family. So we got background color. What is background color? I don't know what that one's going to be. And align. We got font. Everything here is font color. And we got width and table, border collapse, max width, text align. Aha, that's what that's going to be. Text dash align. And that's going to be center. And then this one is also going to be no quotes. And I wonder if I can just say white. Okay. All right, so I think we've got it mostly fixed, but justify content center. Justify content. All right, so text align center. What is the correct settings for this if I am using it in my module.css? Yeah, let's get some assistance on my correct formatting. Here's the corrected module.css. Okay. I think I already have the how-to, but I will take a look just in case I'm wrong. All right. Let's see, yes, import styles. Oh yeah. Do I have to import it? I didn't do that part. That is something I did not do. Yes, I need to do that. Wait. Do I import it into this component or do I import it into the parent? I don't know. Let's import it into that component because I figure it's going to be set up before it gets to the parent, right? Oops, what did I do? No. I want to copy this line. Copy. Paste. Okay. So use the class in your JSX, class name, yeah, I already have that playbox. Okay. Okay. I think we got it. All right, so let's see. Got me some formatting now. And we will see what happens. What was the problem? Component definition missing display name. Okay, so it still doesn't like play clock. What is the display name? How come it doesn't like? Display name. Huh. Getting an error. Well, let's see if maybe I'm just missing it, so. component definition is missing a display name. Oh, so forward ref is what's triggering the problem. Add a display name in the play clock component. Huh. Interesting. So where are they putting the display name at? Oh, at the very end, just before you return it. That's interesting. You have to explicitly do that. Forward ref. I hope I remember that one. I think I'll be asking AI again. When I do this again in the future, it's going to say, this doesn't have a display name. Oh, yeah, how did I fix that? I was like, what did I do last time? Darn, I have to go ask AI again because I don't remember. That's what the thing is, a lot of these tech interviews. They ask you something. You've done it before, probably, especially when you've been coding as long as I have. But I don't remember. I don't remember because I did it 10 years ago. It's like, when you ask somebody straight out of college how to do something that they most likely studied right out of college, it's only been a month or two tops. I mean, they probably did it a dozen times to pass their interview, their graduation tests and whatever. It's like, that's what I'm talking about, man. Oops, doesn't like what I got going. Expected a pseudo class or pseudo element. Oh, I did play clocks text. I didn't ask for. Oh, for one, that's not even a thing. Let's see. Why play clock text? Oh, that should not be the colon on the end. Let's see if that's the problem. $12. I should probably stop, go do my lunch break. Oh, still didn't like it. Wait, did I save? I did not save. Let's try that again. Hey, I don't have door dashing today because, well, I didn't schedule it yesterday. And I can't just go. So I had to schedule it. So I scheduled it for the next couple of days, 2 or 3 days. Unless my Indiegogo campaign goes nuts tomorrow. I'm going to launch it tomorrow. Unless it goes nuts tomorrow, I'll be door dashing for the next few days. At least for a few hours a day. But if it goes nuts and I make enough to not have to DoorDash this week, nuts to me is it pays enough for me not have to DoorDash for a week and I can just code all day. Short of, whatever breaks I take. But Real Tolek. Oh, come on, Real Tolek. Just make me click on things I don't want to click on. I do, but it's terrible. It averages. Actually, last time I DoorDashed, last week, I did... I got about $20 an hour, which was above minimum wage. But generally, in fact, the 10 times before, I've been averaging about $12 an hour, which is way below minimum wage out here. But I got to do something. I feel like I got to contribute, help with the Christmas presents we're buying, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's been pretty pathetic most of the time. It actually got a little bit better when I signed up for Uber. So I DoorDash and Uber at the same time. And, then I have more things I can possibly do, more options. Because DoorDash, part of the problem with DoorDash is that the orders come in really slow. Because I'm not a high priority person. Like they have high priority people who take everything and they give them the best options, the best stuff. So yeah, you're that guy. You're that guy who gets gets the good offers. I wait for good offers, which makes my rating go down. Because I won't DoorDash for less than $1.50 a mile. It's too expensive out here. It's too much driving, too much time. So it has to be at least $1.50. And since they don't do bonuses out here anymore, they haven't done any bonuses in a long time. I rarely hit that. So it's like I have to be picky. Because if I only did, Uber Eats is so bad. They offer a lot of things that are like 40, 50, 60 cents a mile. I'm like, I got better stuff to do. I mean, I don't want to drive around for an hour doing a $20 or a $12 27-mile drive. It's like, no thanks. I'm trying to make more, not less, because you spend all that money on gas. A 27-mile drive is $5 for gas. Well, $4 now, I think, but it's $4 for gas. So that would mean a $12 27-mile drive. It's actually probably more than that because I don't get 27 miles to the gallon. Would be about $8, which means I'd be getting like $8. That's like 30 cents a mile. I'm not going to do that. That's terrible. I'm not going to drive around for 30 cents a mile. Yeah, it's terrible. Uber Eats is bad. And thing is, there's not a lot of drivers accepting these because when I deny it, they go, how about this one at 27 cents an hour? This one, 40 cents an hour? This one, how about 60 cents an hour? 50 cents? Nope. And then all of a sudden I'll get one that says, how about this one? It's $1.60 an hour. It's like, well, at least you broke my limit and I can go drive. It's like a 3-mile order. So a lot of times, the only times I ever get is when somebody tips on a cheap order. So then I might get enough to reach my $1.50. But anyway, last week I went out. I did like 4 or 5 deliveries, and I averaged $20 an hour for like an hour and a half. So I was like, that's a good day. I'll take it. But I mean, it's not like, what do you call it? Putting food on the table, but it does pay for a few Christmas presents. So, or at least helps with them. Melby only pays for one, but whatever. Let's run this. I had a couple of warnings, but warnings aren't critical. So. I've thought about doing the hourly thing that DoorDash does. Where you go out, you just pick your hours, and they pay you per hour. Then I could just take everything. It doesn't matter, right? You take all the orders that come in. But I don't know if that adds up any better. I don't know what the hourly setup is. Oops, got errors. And I still don't have a clock. Probably because I have errors. Play clock is unrecognized in this browser. If you meant to render a React component, start its name with an upper. Are you kidding me? It just complained a little while ago that I was using uppercase. Oh. Duh. Okay, well. It just complained that I was using the wrong case. Now it's saying, well, if you're doing this, you need to have a uppercase, not lowercase. Fine. So maybe that's the display name. Maybe that was the thing. There we go. Maybe it's this. What's it complaining about? Could not find play clock. Did you mean play clock? No, I meant play clock. That's the display name of my component. I did put it in here, right? I did do that. Yeah, I did. It's right there, play clock. Interestingly enough, I put a quote on mine, but the oh no, it's there. Never mind. Ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. So Doesn't like my play clock. I gotta make sure I don't have like other things that are calling. Match case, match hole, okay. Alright, I just want to make sure I'm not like... So that's not working. That, oh, there it goes. Import. Alright, let's try that. I mean, that doesn't guarantee that it's fixed, because I only fix... If it fixes anything, it fixes 1 out of 3 errors. So we got 3 errors. The style prop expects a mapping from style properties to values, not a string. For example, when using JSX. Huh? What is it complaining at? But I did not. So it's not, it must be complaining about my new styles, because, or the play clock styles here. Styles.playclock. Style expects a mapping from style properties to values, not a string. So is it complaining about my module setup? Did I do it? Okay, let's go see how I did it in game result, because I did the same thing in game result. So we got styles. Well, that's class name styles. Class name equals styles.simName. So maybe I change this to class name. Hey, I've got a timer. It's ugly and it's not right. It's not formatted correctly, but I've got a timer. It's ticking. It's totally wrong in its positioning and size, but I've got a timer. It's something. All right, so what do we got here? Countdown 287. 287. Okay, that's not where that is. Countdown ref is not defined. Oh, it's in the error handler. Okay, so the problem, the error is not. I don't know why my catch error didn't just write the didn't just log it. Commit passive mount on fiber. Recursively try. Wow, what the heck is all that? Game loop error reference. Countdown ref is not defined. Well, okay, so it's complaining about my countdown ref not being defined. I don't know why, because it is. It's probably capitalized or some wrong case. Countdown. Oh, it's not countdown. It's play clock ref. Oh, that's what the problem is, I bet. And this is in game result. Okay, so why am I doing countdown ref? countdown. Okay. Oh. Oh, no, it's right here. Play clock graph. Well, something's weird. Well, yeah. I mean, it's ugly, it's not because it's broken, but at least I can kind of see what it's doing wrong. And that's not yellow. So this box is supposed to be like this big, and like this big, not like this big. It's a totally the wrong box. But hey, it has the right stuff in it. It's a thing. It don't even fit inside of the box it has. That text is way wrong. Okay, so we're gonna have to go with the color is gonna be yellow. The background color is going to be, I don't know what that is, but that don't look like black. We're gonna say black. And then the height is way not that. We're gonna go with like, what is my height I've been doing? I think it's like 20? What is my height I've been using for that? Like the boxes it's sitting in have a height of their own. It might even be in here. Yeah, it's 20. Oh no, that's the play clock. Well, they're pixels. I don't think... Do I want to go with pixels? Alright, let's go with pixels. It's maybe not good because that can make things look weird on other things. It's better to have a viewport sizing, I think, because it changes to adjust for the viewport, but... Oops. Hmm. Actually, a viewport might actually be that. Let's try VH. I think it's the viewport's equivalent of 16 pixels. I think is what that is. That's my understanding, which could be I have no idea what I'm talking about. But okay, so my text hasn't changed in size, but the box got smaller. Oh, that's about right. I might want the font weight to be heavy though. Let's go ahead and put font dot weight. Seems like we're going about 300. Oops. Font dash weight. Dash weight. And we'll say 300. I think the problem is I'm using a different font. I think I need to change my font family. Let's go with the same font family I have up here. Fantasy. This way everybody's on the same page. There we go. Now I don't really need this leading 0. And I need my box to be smaller. The box needs to be way tinier. So it's not 16 VH. Try 5 VH? I mean, that's really small. Aha! We're getting closer. I don't know what that is. What's going on there? Something blew up. I don't know what's going on. Type error. Cannot read properties of null. Reading. Remove child. What? What? That's not even my code. All right, let's stop it. I don't know. It stumbled on something. My problem is with DoorDash too is I don't want to do it all day because if I feel like, yes, I need to make some money, but if I did that all day long, I would go out of my mind. For that money, it's not like a real job. I mean, it's like it really is just, as they say, pizza money. I mean, at $10 an hour, it's like I'm not learning any new code. I'm not looking for a job. I'm not developing, making any progress on anything. I'm just wasting a day making minimal money that's not going to, it's not a long-term solution. I'd rather spend time on something that's a long-term solution, maybe. This is very long-term. This is a long-term solution. This is a 2-year in progress long-term solution. But I hope some other solution comes up, or like I said, my Indiegogo goes nuts. It would have to, I mean, like I said, I'd have to have somebody come along and go, dude, this guy's making the game I want. I have a bank load of money that I need to spend. Here, get it done, man. That's what I need to happen. It's like, I need something to unload my money into. This is it. I don't think there's a whole lot of those out there. Not looking for totally unadvertised, unproven, unsubstantiated developers work. There's plenty of failed Kickstarters and Indiegogos out there. Now, I have done Kickstarter, successfully done it, and got product out in the time frame. So I've done that. I have a proven track record of sticking to it and making it happen. But this is not that product, and this is still going to take time. And I did Kickstarter. It wasn't Indiegogo. So. Blah, blah, blah. Come on. It's not bad, but what I want is my play clock to stop having a leading zero, and I want it to be next to the play position, not underneath it. So let's see here. I want all right, here we go. So our play clock is here. I need to say, can I, oh wait, what is the inline statement? There's a force inline or something. And my box needs to be width of way smaller. So we got to go here and we got to say, width 50? No, not even 50. We'll say 10 VH. Oh. Ah, it blew up. What the heck? Failed to oh, wait, what? Oh, it did get, all right. It did get smaller. And now I've got the blue background because it's double height, but that's just need to get it put in the right place and get rid of the leading zero. So I believe there's an inline I can set that forces it to stay. Here we go. This is a center. Nope. I have somebody here who's doing an inline thing. Absolute. Background. Relative. I think it's like block inline, something like that. Block inline. Nice. You're referring to my slowly getting to be working clock? All right, so how? I thought it had a thing in here that was conditionally not putting a zero on. Oh, okay, there we go. It is in play clock. Oh, wow. Jeez, but it's so much easier to scan around. Oh, there it is. I found it. It's right there. Just jumped out in front of me when you said that. Okay, so I got to put in a style. It's inline block. I think that's the one I want. I know. It's not your fault half the time because it's the there's a delay. It's like I see your text and I respond to them, but it was 5 minutes after you said it. So you're late because you see my stuff later, and then I see it way later after you write it. So it's like there's this long old delay. So that's why a lot of times I got to remember, I got to refer to what people are saying, because they're like, when did I say that? Oh yeah, that was like 10 minutes ago. Let's see here. I want to go back to here. No, it is here. I want to just put it in on my play clock. I think I can do this. Hopefully I can build it right into this thing. Oh no, wait, do I want to put it in there? Maybe I want to put it in here, which is here. Where the heck is all my code written? All right, so we're gonna go here, and if I go style, I wonder if I can add a style here. I mean, do I really want to mix it? Maybe I should go over here and figure out how to do it. All right. I probably can. There's probably a way here. I bet you it's different though. It's probably formatted different. How do I add inline block for a container? Definition in CSS. Oh wow. No, I don't have the clock done. It's getting closer. Yeah, I know you were joking. It wasn't 2 hours. It was probably like 2 minutes, but still. I get it. I get it, man. I'm with you. I understand. How it behaves. I'm looking at this little code here. I'm like, what is it doing? The play clock box container will behave like an inline element, meaning it can flow with text or sit next to other inline or inline block element. Yeah, that's what I'm. But they only show me one. That's not even. I get it. All right, I want this thing though. All right, where is it? Display, counter, center, height, background, color, font. Oh, inline flex. Oh, so I still have the display. I just need to say inline. Inline dash flex. Ah, we're almost there. Look at that. We're almost there. I do need a space, though, after my other stuff. And I still want to get rid of the leading 0. I don't want a leading 0. I want a 0 when the number gets... Let's see, is my number getting a 0 when it gets down below 10? Nope, I won't know because I'm not ticking that long. Kind of cool because it's timing how long my plays are actually taking. So they're about 4 seconds. Not every time though. Sometimes it's only 3 seconds. 3 or 4 seconds. So sometimes they're shorter. I'm gonna have to put in a delay so that my clock actually goes, because you could see that. Even though it only takes 3 seconds, watch. Obviously, it doesn't get down to... Whoa! It totally fritzed out when it hit. Dude, look, it's running negative numbers now. Oh, okay. It cleaned... there's definitely a fritz on the change of quarter there. 37, 37. 8. 38. Yeah, so I burned 3 seconds, but my clock goes down 38 seconds because the clock is adding in 30 seconds because it's trying to move. But my actual play clock is only going down 3 seconds, 3 or 4 seconds, which is actual time ticking down. And it could be the speed at which I'm ticking it. Right now, I'm ticking it 1 second, so it's in line with my loop delay for each play. So I'm only getting 3 or 4 or 5 seconds in there. What I need to do is actually add a delay that makes the play take as long as the clock, but then set the clock so that it trips at the right, it goes on to the next thing. But I do have a play clock. It's not in line with anything yet, but it's getting there. So I do need a space on my item here. So game state, own, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to need to add, in this guy just to give myself a little bit of breathing room. And I still need to get rid of the leading 0. How do I do that? Play clock. So I got minutes, I got seconds, but we're still getting a leading 0. Oh, because I'm actually putting the minutes in. I don't want minutes. There's 0 minutes, but I don't want that. This is not that kind of clock. But I might need it for my my actual clock. In fact, I will need it for my actual clock. So I'm going to keep that just so I remember the formatting that it uses. But I can get rid of this guy. I will keep the colon though, because that kind of lets you know that we're dealing with less than a minute. Dude, that just... Yeah, it definitely has a problem with the switchover from can I have an object? Can I have an object be a different alignment inside of the container? Because I kind of want this to be all the way to the right. Let's go over here. I want my width to be less than that. So we will say 8. Nope. 8. Why didn't that change? Let's go smaller. 6? How about 5? No. It's not working. Okay, so let's stop it and reset. I have so many things I want to do visually. And I could easily get stuck on just doing visual stuff. But if I do that, the core part never gets done. So this afternoon, I'm going to be spending on the core part, the back end stuff. With and then each day, I'm going to try to do, like, maybe I'll do a morning session that's UI for a while and an afternoon session that's core stuff. You know, where I get into the underground, the under parts. I like it. I just think I want to figure out if I can make my... Can I make this align right? Let's go align right. Oh, it's not, it didn't change. Text. Oh, that's text align. I want the whole box to align right. What if... Oh, but I got the background is... I want the whole box. If the whole box is black... Yeah, see, I'm not changing the alignment of the box. I'm trying to move my timer to the far right of this box. I don't, you know, right now it's sharing the space with the opponent. I kind of want it to be all the way to the right. And this way the blue doesn't show on the other side. It'll just be blue on one side and then the 40 or the timing on the other side. So that it's not being surrounded by blue. Let's see here. I want to align just that object to the right. But if I... See, this is align center, everything inside. But I'm wondering if what I'm going to need to do... And I did my play clock here. Play clock... See, it is formatting the time here. So this thing... Maybe this guy could be... No, because I don't want to move the text. I need the whole box to move, which would be this whole thing would need to move. But I tried to change the module for the whole box. What if I don't use text? What if I just say align? Align. Content? No, not content. Is that my only option? Align self? Yeah, how about align self? Right. Oops, wrong thing. Oops, nope. It's the right thing in there. Doesn't like it. Align self does not work. Align self. I don't know. All right, GPT. Inspect element. Oh, you're talking about actually opening up the app. I guess I could. Sure, why not? You know, I haven't done this in a while. Just because, I don't know, I was having issues getting it to show me what I having any use for it. Because without the debugging in, all right, so we got. Usually when you're highlighting on here, it's telling you where you are, but. So I gotta expand all these things. Nope, this is all the menu garbage. Don't want that. Nope, nope. Nope, nope. 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 Maybe. No. Almost. Well, yeah, but the problem is I still need to know. It's cool. Wait, updates right there. You can see it updating. Oh, I don't even have this on the screen, do I? There we go. I guess I kind of, sort of did have it on the screen, but. I mean, it's right here, which is what I knew it was. I just trying to figure out. I wanted to see, like right now, all of these guys are centered, so everything's sitting in the middle. So I'm wondering if I need to, like, I'd like to have this align. I mean, I like that it's in the center. That's fine. But I want this guy to move to the right. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. Maybe I just need to put another cell in. And that might mess something up, though, if I put another cell in. I could do a div, remove the alignment on this. If I put a div in and put own inside the div, because right now everything wants to be centered, but I can't center. I was thinking it'd be okay if I. All right, wait. Let's try this. I think I have an idea. I think I'm going to try this little thing here. Let's see. We're going to go here. And we're going to go div. And then we're going to go align equals center. And we're going to go, or not center. It's going to be right. I'm trying to move my entire box over, but within the same kind of zone. But that means this guy's going to have. So he's going to align everything that's inside of it to the right of it. But I need to have this have a width that's big enough to actually push it over. Because if it's just the same size, right of the same size isn't going to matter. So I need to actually have, like, if I want this to be pushed over, I'm going to have to say, like, let's say that this guy's width equals 5 VH. No? Oh. How about 5 VH? hey, well, it kind of worked, except it pushed it over, except it dropped to the next line. That's close. I mean, that's where I want it. I want it right there. I just don't want it to drop down. Probably because I'm no longer, this thing doesn't have the same inline block state. I'd be willing to bet that's what it is. It's kind of funny. I have a div within a div within a div to make this happen. So this doesn't work. Align self. How does align self work? Because that, if I could have made the whole box move over on its own. How does align dash self work? No. Because this gets an error. Mostly because I just want to know what it does. Align self is used on child elements of a flex container to override the align item properties of the parent for that specific child. Oh. Oh. Oh, okay, so that might actually... Well, still, how do you... No, because I don't want to move the text, because the box needs to stay black and centered. It needs to stay centered within its block. So I want the whole block, but not itself. So okay, so that clarifies. But it would probably work if I was trying to get a different box to do it. But this is actually correct for what I want. I just need this to have the inline block state, like the other one does. Play clock box. I'm going to have to create another one. I have to call it play clock. Play clock container. Container. And then this one's going to have, all it's going to do is do a write. I'm just going to do the inline flex. That's all I want. I don't want to do anything else. Nothing fancy, just inline flex, so that I can put it right on top of itself there. And then we will go right back to my, where was I? Right here. I guess I could put that other stuff in there, align right and all that other stuff, but class name, oops, class name equals styles. All right, let's take this out at least. I like to bid as much. Honestly, I'm trying to get more into the habit of using my CSSs because, well, it is a better way to do stuff, but I've just been slacking. Comes a point when you've got to, I mean, during prototyping phases, you can take shortcuts, you know, just get it done. But as you start to take shape and things start to become more and more what it's going to be towards the end, you have to eventually just start doing it the correct way. So that didn't fix anything though. Inline flex should have put it in line like the other objects. All right, let's stop. Oh wait, it adjusted, but it went back to the right. It went back to the center, And we still have way more height than we're supposed to have. I did not have that a minute ago. So we are back on box. Oh, I've got to fix that clock though. My clock totally wigs out. It's totally wigging out. Whenever the clock turns 0, it goes nuts. All right, so we have a final. I feel like it's too wide too. You can't, and a line is not actually in a thing here, right? A line, content. There isn't a right. There's a center. You can align center, but you can't align right. Weird. Can align center? When you use the line right or line left, you have to use pixels or margins, if I remember correctly. You have to set the pixels. Really? A line right and line left? Why would I have to set So you have to say how far to the right you want to go? Well, you know what? I had it before, so I really just need to... I mean this did do it a minute ago. It wasn't until I tried to put the wrapper on, so I need my wrapper to act like my child did. Because I had the child moving over without this, but I want it to be in blue, so I was trying to move. All right, let's ask. All right, so let's see. I would like to get my play clock to be positioned all the way to the right of the cell it is in, but not align the other text in that same cell. All right, so I have inline block. Oh, so not inline flex? Because the last thing I did had to be inline flex. No, I don't want to change that. I don't want to do that. All right, so it's giving you multiple options. Some of them I like, some of them I don't. Inline block, float right, text align right. I don't want to change my text though. Well, maybe because it's in the container, it might not move my text. I just don't want to move my text. But the float, I will try. The float might be the option I want. All right, so float right. I don't know. It sure as the play clock content is aligned to the right. No, I want the container the only thing. I want the clock to be centered like it is. But inline block, huh? Yeah, let's wait. I'm not convinced I want to change that. Ah, there we go. It's perfect, except it's big. Why is it tall all of a sudden? It wasn't tall before. Must be the default div height. Like maybe I need to change my height here. Height. Oh my gosh, what was that? height. We'll do the same thing. V5 VH. No, not 4. 5 VH. Is it thinking about it? So my height, 5H. Alright, so let's just run this again. Well, the thing is, it was fine a second ago. My text, you think, because my text was good until I added this extra div around it. So I'm thinking the problem has something to do with the size of my div. It's in the right place. It's all the way to the right. Everything's looking good, except it's tall. And it didn't get to be tall until I added this, which means this guy must be my problem. But you know what? I'm going to close. Sometimes things don't quite trigger the way they're supposed to until you restart. I've had that happen on a number of occasions. What? Movie scraper, source main Java com movie scraper screens TV show, no value passed for parameter on search. What is that? A file? I'm actually thinking I might be okay with the width of the... Oh, see, that's got a good width to it. It's actually pretty good. Actually, everything's... Oh, is it? Oh, look, it did. It fixed itself. It's no longer tall. I mean, it is tall, but it's probably just because I set it too tall. It looks like it might be like I need to go like 4 VH on here. But it's pretty close to what I want. My screen is not, it's not resizing very well right now. Seems like it always does that. It's like it's slow to resize. Oh, nice. Gotta like that. So we're good. Now I just need to shorten my clock. Or shorten it. It's still too tall. It's not double tall like it was. Now it's like it just got some padding. Like I need to remove the padding. And like this one was good. Why is display, inline flex, content center right? I'm trying to see what this one had that was making that one different. Because it's like it's thick. Why is it thick? It's the same size as the other one. Alright, so that's what I was thinking. I mean, it's probably because I have too many containers inside of each other and they're taking up space. So this one doesn't have anything except the background blue. It doesn't put anything in. But it has, that one has no formatting on it. I mean, that one doesn't even have, it just says put text in the middle and be that. Now I just got to figure out why. So we have our team with possession, 80% width. I do have a height of 15 here. The image height, which is the football. Yeah, it's the football's image height. Game state, team possession, team. Yeah, I don't have a lot of anything going on for measurements. So it's really going to come down to how do I just get this to be the right height? I thought maybe I had something already defining. I must have somewhere where I'm setting the oh, height 25. There it is. I don't know if I like setting it to default, but the row is 25. And these are 15. That one doesn't have it. Actually have it. It's just the football that's 15, and the 15 is pretty small. Hey, did you see that awesome game this yesterday? The Broncos destroyed the Colts. I mean, for 3 quarters they were losing, but they scored 21 points in the fourth quarter to end up way ahead. But I was getting a little nervous there. But hey, well, as long as they're close, maybe. And then boom. Well, the defense really did most of it, but that was pretty awesome. They started off with a pick six, and then they got another interception. I mean, they basically they gave the offense the game on a platter. I mean, they basically gave them great field position all day, and they basically did nothing with it most of the time. But they just kept giving it, and finally the offense says, all right, let's go ahead and score a couple touchdowns. I mean, since we don't want to be outscored by the defense, that would make us look bad. So we gotta start scoring. So they ended up doing something. But yeah, it was a good game. I mean, I had to listen to it on the radio, unfortunately. I didn't get to watch it because I don't live in the right area to get to watch the Broncos play every week. Gotta say, though, I get stressed out too much. I'd rather just find out what happened later sometimes. Games that are close and I just keep seeing my team making screw-ups. I'm like, I can't stand watching this. Turn it off. Tell me what happens. But then, before the game's even over, what's the score? Alexa, tell me. I said her name. That sometimes is a bad thing. All right, so I'm not getting my height fix this way. You are cool. What are you programming in? What kind of Android are you using? Java? Is that what you're using? Because I hear Java is like the most popular Android programming language. All right, so let's try to say height. How about I go? Can you do? What if I go? Can you do both? How does it do it that way? Oh, I wonder if I go class name and then go. Can you do this? H. 20. Can I comma this, or do I have to do something like? What if I'm mixing stuff here? Okay, so class name. All right, so I have to do it that way. So if I'm doing class name, so if I go here and go with that guy, and then go. This. $sign. And then go over here. Close it up with this guy. So I didn't like the way I did that. Probably because I put this in the wrong place. That has to be enclosed as well. Okay. Didn't shrink it. It did not get smaller. It stayed the same height. What if I change it? What if I just change it to like 5? Look, you, I know you're the problem. Shrink. Shrink, I'm telling you. Doesn't want to shrink. Kotlin? I've heard of it. Never seen it before, and I did not know it was used for Android development. Maybe I might have seen it on the list, because when I looked, I said, "What's the best app for deploying or creating games in on Android or mobile apps?" And I think Kotlin might have been mentioned, but I just threw it out the back of my mind. I had never heard of Kotlin, and I was like, it didn't even register. I was like, Java, because Java was #1. And then I started looking up graphics engines that are used for mobile apps, mobile games, and I saw Unity was used by a lot of the big companies that have made a lot of well-known games. And I'm like, I'm going to go with Unity. I think Unity has, because the games that they developed are what I'm going for, or at least one of those companies developed a game that's kind of what I'm going for as far as similar aesthetic. I mean, I have a totally different game, but I mean, I'm going for that kind of an effect with cards and that kind of thing. So I wanted to use that one. Now, granted, it's the aesthetic that I want, not the aesthetic that I know how to accomplish. And I'm not an artist, so that's the big problem. I am not. I'm great at designing functionality, building functionality, just coding in general. I do okay with once I start figuring it out, start learning all the stuff. But when you ask me to do something artistic, I just kind of, it's like you just said some foreign language to me. What? Artistic? What is this artistic you're speaking of? I don't know this. This is an unfamiliar phrase you speak. I'm not. It's funny because I feel like I'm pretty good at visualizing quality graphics. I can see and even consume the difference in quality, and understand it and see it, and I could tell two things and go, yeah, this one's beautiful, this one's kind of but and what makes it so. But creating it, nah, not happening, man. Can't do it. And here I am trying to be an actor. No, I'm not really. I'm in a play. Well, my first ever attempt at being an actor in a play. I just on a whim decided to go try out to do this local little play that's around here, and I went to go do an audition. I said, I can do this. I can do this. I found a monologue, studied it, and said, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. So I showed up on audition day because they were doing open auditions, And I got a part. It's actually the part I tried for, which wasn't the main part because, you know, got to start. I want to start slower, but it was also a part I felt like I fit. And apparently he agreed, so I got the part. So over the last several months, we've been doing auditioning, and it's been kind of fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's a good time. So it's 1 or 2 days a week, you know, Friday nights, Saturday sometimes, and so yeah, we're almost to that point. We're all off book now. We're doing it without lines, or not without lines, without the scripts. We're just out there doing it without any lines. But it's a silent movie. It's a silent play. No, and then so the actual play is at the end of the month, and not the end of this month, end of January, end of next month. So, yeah, pretty cool, I think. And then they were talking about what they do in the spring. They're doing another play. This is, like I said, a really small company. In fact, a lot of the people doing this are like in their 20s, you know, young 20s, low 20s. Some of them aren't even teens, probably. But they were talking about what they're going to do in the spring. And I said, oh, that sounds really cool. I think I might try out for that one too. They're doing House on Haunted Hill, which I guess is an old Vincent Price movie. And I'm like, oh, I want Vincent Price's part. That's probably a huge part, and I don't know if I would be the. I don't know. I might try for it anyway. I think I can get a part in the movie though, or in the play. That's in the spring, because like I said, there's not a lot of competition. It's not like I'm going up against thousands of people. It's like 50 people, 40 people, and they take 30 of them because they need them in the play. So, and it's a non-paid play. You're just doing it for fun. You're paid in the privilege of being in the play. That's how that one works. Okay. So now I need to shorten the div. All right. So, okay. Looking good. I'm telling him what it thinks. However, the container div is too tall and I need it to be shorter. I have tried H dash and height settings, but nothing seems to have an effect. Nope. I want the whole thing. Want it to see everything that's involved, so it can see where I'm missing. It's add height property for use in utility classes. If you're using tailwinds to control the container size explicitly, you can also line height if it's text-based content. Set parent and child alignment. Use vertical align in the GD content. Restrict flex or block behavior. If display inline block or flex is used, ensure unintentional styles, align items, stretch, are overriding the height. I'm not using those. Height 2 rem. Alright, well, I'll try that. Play block container. Alright, I'll try 2 rem, because I don't know, it didn't work for the VH, but 2 rem. And I know these weren't breaking it, so I wasn't too concerned about them. Overflow hidden. Overflow hidden. Alright, I don't know what that does, but prevents extra content from affecting height. Okay. I'll try it. I don't think text line. And all right, let's put these margins. I was wondering about padding. Maybe that's part of it too. So we'll take those and put those in too. All right. Still didn't. Well, I don't think that did anything, but. Let's not have extra stuff on here. Guess I don't have extra stuff on here because I took it out already. I just left it inside of the. All right. Let's go back here. All right, we'll see if maybe I was wrong. Let's see what this does. We'll go 2 RAM. Huh, interesting. That made them the same height. I feel like that's still wrong. Why is it? It's too tall. Why? All right, let's try block. I didn't try. I went with flex, but maybe let's try block. No, block doesn't do anything. I mean, it's displaying exactly. I just for some reason it's taller than my other lines, and I can't figure out why. Something to do with my settings here. It's this close to being ready and being done. And I can call my morning session done. That's what I want. My morning session to be done. I can go eat lunch, change, get out of my workout clothes I'm still wearing. And then come back and do my afternoon session. But it's already 1 o'clock. I should be started on my afternoon session already. Not to mention I'm hungry. But I think I did mention that. I did say go eat lunch. But is there something in the play clock that I'm missing? Maybe I'm missing something in the play clock here. Play clock box, play clock text. Thing is, it was correct. This stuff is correct. This stuff is correct. Maybe. You know what? I feel like I want this to be its own box. So what kind of app are you making? Is it for work or is it just something you're doing for fun? Alright, so we're going to stop this. I'm going to try and see what happens if I compile. What? I don't even know what Kodi is. Fun, a movie scraper. A movie scraper? What is it? What is it scraping? I mean, I know it's scraping movies, but I mean, what is it scraping from movies? Warning, React hook use effect has a missing dependency quarter. Oh yeah. Probably get around that, but I'll fix it later. Oh wait, did I just run that again? I did. Why did I do that? Silly me. Double compiled. So extra super duper compiled. Also waiting for it. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, now run it. I don't think it's gonna matter, but it's always something fiddly, you know? It's like, it's done. I got this thing complete. My clock is working. But but of course it's too tall. Let's go see if this puts in. I'm going to look at the inspect here. And then I think it was way down here in my this piece. Nope, wrong one. Is it this one? All right. Height 25. It just says flex, but which is keeping it there, but it doesn't say anything about its height, which isn't helping me at all. But it's really thick. Why is it so thick? It's like I don't have anything making it tall. I mean, I'm down to... Oh, that's probably supposed to be a W. Pretty sure it's not supposed to be a... VH. I mean, that doesn't... I don't think that changes anything, but... No, it kind of did. pushed it over a notch. I don't know how much that mattered, but let's go 3. I think 2 is a little tight. Still too tall. That's better. Okay, so my height. Well, let's go VH. I don't know why that matters, but VH. Oh, that made the box smaller, but that didn't do anything for my overall width. Which tells me it is definitely a problem with... it's definitely a problem with the box itself. Oh. Almost got it. But it's really aligned weird. How about V-align? It's like a, VH is kind of all right, let's try. I like viewport, but I think it's going to be too. I think it's going to be too small. No. That one won't even shrink that far. It's like it can't shrink that far. It's like it's not allowed because of the other stuff. Oh, this is the one I want. It's fine, but I feel something's weird. I don't like my... It feels like it's over... What's throwing me off is it feels like it's overlapping the top. I don't know why that bothers me. Guess that's a way to get it close enough where it forces itself away. And it's thicker than the side stuff still. And I think I'm using the same fonts. Fantasy, font weight 300, font weight 400. Using the same font weight. 300. Border collapse. Border collapse. Collapse. Fantasy 10 pixel white. Font size 20 pixel. I mean, I guess my pixels could be big. Because I'm using font size 16 pix. What did I use down here for font size? 1 rem. Alright, let's try 16 pix. Let's just see if that's a different result. No, I didn't do anything. Can I settle with it? Can I settle with it? I need to settle with it. I need to settle with it. Data of website. Free movies. Huh. Interesting. Huh. I'll have to check that out sometime. Hey, all right. So that's my morning session. I think I'm good with it. I'm going to leave it as is. I think that's enough time spent on my play clock. I will line it up with my actual clock. That'll probably have to be tomorrow or the next day. I need to do an afternoon session where I actually start working on the back end some more, start working on the microservices. So the microservices need my time. And in order to do that, I need to take a break, which means I'm probably not going to get to it until 2:30, maybe 3 o'clock. So it's because I need to, well, that's my time. So it's 1:30 now because I need to go do other things for a bit. And then I'll come back and probably go until about 5 or 5:30 or 6, something like that. But so that'll be a little bit of a break. Morning session complete.